The bat shines bright in the night. Here's your look at the DC Collectibles DC Artist Alley Joe Ledbetter. This is the DC Universe glow-in-the-dark variant exclusive. Inspired by the popular comic convention experience, DC Artist Alley is an artist-focused limited edition designer vinyl figure line that merges indie design with the most iconic characters in the DC universe. A skilled and multifaceted creator, Joe Ledbetter, aka J Led, has an experience as an artist, as an illustrator, and perhaps most importantly for Artist Alley, a toy designer. Born from humble origins in the underground art shows and influenced by 1980s video games, animation, and skateboarding, he's risen to prominence thanks to his crisp, bold lines, a vibrant palette, and work that is socially conscious, Alright, let's get to going with this review. We're going to first figure out how tall the Joe Ledbetter Batman glow-in-the-dark version is. And we're going to go right to the very top of its wings. According to the Ultra Measure-tron 5000, you're looking at the statue standing at 6.3 inches in height. Went for a dramatic pause there, probably not very successful. Centimeters, you're looking at 16.2 centimeters in height. Where are you going? Where are you going, says the mob. I'm actually going back to centimeter. Actually, I'm going back to inch town. We're going to first also, second of all, I suppose also, we're going to be looking at the length of the Batman. So from tip of the wing to the tip of the wing, the tape measure tells us that the statue from here to here is 11.5 inches in height. I'm waving my finger a lot in this review. I apologize for that. 29.3, almost 30 centimeters is the Batman. And you know, because I'm alls about the comparisons. There you go. There's Batman, the Joe Ledbetter glow-in-the-dark Batman over here, compared to the original Batman over here. You'll see that the Batmans are identical to one another, except for the paints. This one being the glow-in-the-dark. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And this one here was more the traditional Cape Crusader colors. Also, just for giggles, there you go, there's also the Catwoman. These are the ones that we've looked at thus far. Still, the Joe Ledbetter DC Artist Alley releases also include a Penguin and a Robin. Hopefully we'll have a look at those on this channel as well. While Catwoman gets to steppin', said get to steppin', we're going to have a look at the Batman glow-in-the-dark version. I think for that I'm also going to keep the original one in frame too, so that you guys can kind of do a comparison back and forth, like a tennis match back and forth. You guys can see the difference between the two. As I said, there's really not much difference mold-wise. Mold-wise, they're identical to one another. Where the separation certainly comes into play is the fact that this one does have the glow-in-the-dark option. We'll light this one up and have this glow-in-the-dark in a second. Also, by the way, in case you're wondering, this one here is limited to 1,000. Yeah, you heard me right. 1,000, 1,000 copies worldwide. This happens to be also an artist proof 13 to be exact, because the good folks over at DC Collectibles were nice enough to send these my way to have a look and promote these, showcase these across the spectrum to you guys, the viewing audience. If you remember, the original Batman was limited to 3,000 copies. So 3 times greater is your chances to score this one versus the glow-in-the-dark version. Now, again, the glow-in-the-dark version, we're going to spend some time, some much-needed time, and hopefully while I'm talking, this one is absorbing the artificial lighting, because we have not natural lighting in this environment. I'm asking the producers, can we bring in the sun? Producers are saying the sun's too big. Okay, sorry. We're going to go with artificial lighting on this one. So while we are talking, the statue is absorbing into its pores all the light around it. And we'll hopefully cut the lights and we'll see if this actually lights up. But some details to note here for the statue release of now this is the DC Universe exclusive glow-in-the-dark version, but again, it's pretty much what we have seen before. What we have seen before is Joe Ledbetter at his best. Growing up, not necessarily growing up, I wasn't growing up with it, but he was growing up influenced by 80s video games. And you can kind of see a lot of maybe inspirational cues taken when he came to designing some of these characters. Now, I was introduced by Joe Ledbetter for the Kid Robot vinyl series. I think I reviewed both Series 1 and believe Series 2 so many years ago, but that was kind of my first entryway into Joe Ledbetter's work. So I'm kind of really familiar, at least from that standpoint, what kind of design you're getting when it comes to these statues. Very much a cartoonier, simplified version of Batman, but very, very much bold black lines. In fact, I feel as if you almost see it a little bit more on this Batman, the glow-in-the-dark version of Batman, than you do with the original release. I guess the bold lining is really in all the same places. Also, the under padding of the feet are also done in the black, but pretty much all the black that was on this one is making appearance here. But what is now obviously omitted is the grays and the blues, in favor of completely having this in a slightly, I don't know if you can see with my hand running behind it, slightly translucent green. On the back, as you can see, like I said, it's got his signature, J. Led's signature, and the out of 1,000 limited quantity, 1,000 copies worldwide. Can't really spend a lot of time talking about the details on this, having already really spent a considerable amount of time talking about here. So things that I will mention, summarizing some of the great artwork details. I mean, these kind of look like they were pulled from a drawing, something of which you would see at a convention. All really the basis for why the DC Artist Alley started was for DC Collectibles to showcase the artwork. You would go to artist tables at these conventions and they would just draw out something like, can you draw Batman? Joe Ledbetter would do his best to draw out Batman. This is kind of what you would be getting here, now created in a statue. Again, I really love the face. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time because we talked a lot about this for the original Batman review. The scaling does look a little bit more subtle because it's not obviously on the backdrop of a more matte gray, because the green kind of is just, everything is green. You don't see as much the scaling on his suits as you would have maybe on this one right here. Still love the face, love the bold black line on his face, the shadowing on the front of Batman's face, the very long fanged teeth are still present, and even like the pointed bat nose that's featured on the front there. Everything basically on him, outlining his wing, outlining his individual fingers, outlining his, of course, the points of his cowl. Everything is outlined in this bold black. In fact, actually, the only parts that aren't outlined in bold black are the arms, the torso, and the legs, which are about the only things that get omitted from this. Still deep in there, underneath Batman's head, you can still see the bat emblem and the bat utility belt. Still kind of makes it look like he's wearing underwear, just the way that he's they've got this part swooshing across here and diagonally going down this way. It kind of looks like he's wearing a pair of boxer briefs, so kind of underwear. Again, you got the black on the underside of his feet, some lines added in there as well. Again, not really a whole lot to spend talking about, as I've already talked a lot about it. in abundance when we had a look at these pieces right here. The benefit, of course, of getting the exclusive, we'll just put the exclusive in front of the regular released Batman. The benefit of the exclusive is the fact, first and foremost, is the fact that it glows in the dark. Second of all, generally the exclusives are always limited in quantities, and Batman here is no exception. It's literally 1/3 the amount available worldwide versus the one that was the standard release that was 3,000 copies. In the hopes that this would actually glow in the dark, hopefully the camera is picking this up. I see a little bit through the viewfinder, quite a bit more though holding it in hand. You can see that Batman does light up. The wings are a slightly bit darker than the front of Batman that seems to still project a very bright green light. Again, it's a little easier to see this firsthand, in person, with my eyes looking directly at it, than looking at it through the camera. In fact, as we are discussing this even further, I can see Batman's glow start to reduce, so we'll go ahead and turn the lights back on. One thing that the DC Artist Alley is known for, if you collected these in your days, is you'll see that each of the statues come with a wide range of different variants. Depending on which stores you check out or which online markets you source out, you'll see that each stores may have exclusives that are different than anywhere else. This can also come at the price that with those exclusives being circulated, they always come out in lower numbers, so it's always a harder time trying to source and track them down. One of the inevitable results in collecting the Artist Alley is, after a while, you sort of build an addiction to wanting to collect all the other variants as well. I was guilty for this as well when we had a look at the Show Marassi DC Artist Alley. In fact, each of the statues that we looked at was a different variant from the other. The Catwoman, for example, was a Books A Million exclusive. The Poison Ivy was in fact the only one that was the standard issue, and the Harley Quinn was the Hot Topic Red Glitter, one that looked so good. I felt compelled to want to source out and see if I could find the standard issue, the regular release of Harley Quinn, to no avail. So again, one of the problems, and a good problem I suppose, if anything, maybe not to the wishes of your wallet, is that when you do pick up these Artist Alleys, you do really want to start picking up all the variants as well. And Batman here from Joe Ledbetter is no exception. Now, we had already looked at the regular release of Batman, a really outstanding looking statue. This one here is the DC Universe exclusive. It's limited to 1,000 copies, and with that comes a harder trekking down of seeing if you can add this one to your collection. The one thing I would say, though, is as these statues are released, try to source them out right away. I know firsthand with my Harley Quinn that I was trying to find, that trying to get them after the fact, if you wait too long to get them, then you're at the mercy of scalpers that are selling them for on eBay for a lot more than probably what they were originally worth. So take my heed to call. If you guys are interested in picking these ones up for yourself, try to source them out right away. You don't want to wait too long picking these ones up for the fear that you're going to be paying for it a little bit later, literally and figuratively. Today, though, we were having a look at the Joe Ledbetter. This was the DC Artist Alley glow-in-the-dark variant from the DC Universe exclusive. If you guys want to go back and have a look at some of my other DC Artist Alley statue reviews, there's a playlist for that. Also, if you haven't done so already, why not hit that little subscribe button that's just below this video or in the corner of this video as well. There's a little red square that says subscribe. Hit that little subscribe if you haven't done so already, because we're going to have a look at some other statue reviews and other collectibles in upcoming videos. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. Let me know down below what you guys think of the Joe Ledbetter statue collection and which one you prefer, the glow-in-the-dark or the regular release. Always like reading your comments, and I'll see you guys next time.